On October 2, 2025, the Israeli Navy intercepted the global Sumud Flotilla in the eastern Mediterranean, far from Gaza's coast. The operation unfolded in the early morning hours as the flotilla approached the region under a watchful sky, with tension mounting on both sides. 9 vessels carrying international activists were stopped in international waters, a detail fueling global debate. The activists, hailing from over a dozen countries, had come together in a show of solidarity, determined to break the blockade and deliver aid. The flotilla's mission was clear: deliver humanitarian aid and challenge Israel's long-standing naval blockade of Gaza. Supplies included food, medicine, and essential goods, all intended for civilians facing dire shortages. Despite repeated warnings from the Israeli Navy, activists pressed on, determined to make a statement and draw attention to the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The Interception, coming nearly 2 years after the 2023 Hamas attacks and subsequent Israeli offensive, drew intense international scrutiny. Governments, human rights groups, and media outlets around the world closely monitored the unfolding events. Communication from the boats was quickly cut, leaving the world to piece together events from scattered reports and anxious updates. Families and supporters waited anxiously for any word. The confrontation at sea was over quickly, but its political and humanitarian fallout was just beginning, sparking new debates about the blockade and the ongoing crisis in Gaza. The global Sumud Flotilla united 500 passionate activists from across the globe: doctors, lawyers, journalists, and volunteers from dozens of countries, each bringing their unique skills and determination to the mission. Among them were well-known public figures like Greta Thunberg, whose presence amplified the flotilla's message and drew international media attention to their cause. Their goal was twofold: to deliver symbolic humanitarian aid directly to Gaza, and to protest the ongoing blockade, which they viewed as a form of collective punishment against civilians. The activists were fully aware of the dangers: arrest, detention, or even violence, but they remained steadfast, committed to non-violence and peaceful resistance as guiding principles. Greg Stoker, an American veteran on board, described the tense anticipation and anxiety that gripped the group as Israeli naval ships drew closer, their intentions uncertain. For many participants, this was more than just an aid mission. It was a powerful act of solidarity and a heartfelt plea for basic human rights and dignity for the people of Gaza. By sailing toward Gaza, the flotilla aimed to break the silence, draw urgent global attention to the humanitarian crisis, and demand meaningful international action. Even a peaceful protest in these contested waters can ignite dramatic consequences, as this bold and risky voyage would soon prove to the world. Accounts of the interception differ sharply. Activists say Israeli forces jammed communications, used water cannons, and even rammed a vessel, creating an information blackout. Greg Stoker recalled Israeli ships approaching with transponders off, demanding the flotilla stop or be seized. Activists argue the operation was aggressive and illegal, designed to silence their protest. Israel, meanwhile, claims it acted lawfully to enforce the blockade. With no independent footage, the world is left with two irreconcilable narratives. The incident deepened mistrust and highlighted the ongoing information war surrounding Gaza. Israel dismissed the flotilla as a political provocation, not a humanitarian mission. Officials said the activists refused an offer to dock at Ashdod for aid inspection, proving their intent was political. Israel insists the blockade is a legal security measure to prevent weapons from reaching Hamas. The government framed the interception as necessary defense, especially after the trauma of the 2023 attacks. By portraying the activists as reckless, Israel sought to justify its actions to both its citizens and the world. The backdrop is Gaza's ongoing humanitarian catastrophe. Tens of thousands have been killed, entire neighborhoods reduced to rubble, and basic infrastructure has been decimated. Hospitals, schools, and homes lie in ruins, while the flow of aid remains severely restricted. Activists and aid organizations argue that the blockade, combined with inspection bottlenecks, continues to keep desperately needed supplies from reaching Gaza's 2 million residents, many of whom are now facing acute shortages of food, water, and medicine. Their mission was a desperate attempt to draw international attention to this deepening crisis and to break the impasse that has left so many without hope. After the interception at sea, concerns quickly grew for the detained activists, with human rights groups warning of the risk of prolonged detention and calling for transparency and due process. The legal status of the activists remains murky and contested as the incident unfolded in international waters, raising questions about jurisdiction and maritime law. The Flotilla episode starkly underscores the ongoing clash between Israel's security concerns and the urgent humanitarian needs of Palestinians in Gaza. Once again, the world is forced to confront the immense human cost and the many unresolved questions that lie at the heart of this enduring conflict.